Audience, it's a delight to be with you on another marriage encounter. We welcome you from wherever you are. We are happy to share insights on how you can build your relationship to the level that you want it to be and that God desires for you. With me today, Dr. Green, is Dr. Brathwaite, and we're going to be guiding you. In fact, talking about values. That we are today, Dr. Brathwaite, that is so very important. We trust that our friends will tune in. Remember to call a friend. Let them house. Marriage encounter is on. Dr. Brathwaite, a word of prayer.
Yes. Let's pray, everybody. Father, we are grateful, and it's a wonderful privilege again to be on Marriage Encounter. We thank you for our listening and viewing audience. We pray for couples, and we ask that as we share today, that pray.
Amen.
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 Well, we have been talking about love, the agape type love as a value. And we spoke about last week, essentially what we were saying is this whole matter of empathy.
Yes.
You know, sitting at the place where your spouse is and viewing things from your spouse's perspective, asking the question, how would I like to be treated?
Correct.
You know, so today we want to go into this matter of commitment.
Yes, yeah.
Guide us.
Well, foundational to successful relationships. I think that as we talk about, as we've spoken about some of the previous elements, what we mentioned, empathy, as we look at commitment, we want to understand, what does it mean to be committed? What does it mean to be committed? And one of the best examples of commitment is really God's relationship to us. When we look at God's relationship to us, and I'm going to just draw probably the most important principle that we can find, and that is that God made a promise to us as human beings. And even though human beings continually mess up on our end in terms of not necessarily being faithful to God in our relationship with Him, God doesn't change. God remains faithful to His promise. He made a promise to Abraham. Abraham went and Abraham lied and messed up, but God remained faithful to the promise. And so, the word that the Bible uses, as we look at the context of commitment, the word that the Bible uses is the word covenant, which speaks about the kind of relationship that God has with His children. So when we speak about commitment, when we're talking about commitment, we're really talking about being in a relationship and remaining committed to that relationship, in spite of the fact that that relationship may experience some turmoil, some turbulent times, and some challenges.
I like the passage of scripture where God said to the Israelites, I believe Joshua was the one who was at the hem and he was taking over from Moses.
Yeah.
And God said, I will never leave you nor
forsake
you.
Yes.
And I'd like us to zero in a little bit on that word, forsake. Because, there are so many persons who, they may not use the same word, but their complaint is that their spouse has left them. Sometimes they say high and dry, their spouse moved out on them, their spouse deserted them, their spouse was not there for them when they needed them so much. The matter of not forsaking. It's when I know that somebody will not forsake me, somebody will not leave me alone. It provides assurance, it provides comfort, it provides that kind of calm, that reassuring presence of just the thought that I don't have to battle this alone is indeed comforting. So when somebody is committed, it's kind of like saying, I'm going to be there. I will not forsake you.
Right. The word forsake itself is so interesting. It just sounds like the right word, I will not forsake you. I will not walk away and leave you. I will be here for you. As we talk about this, and I think it's such an important discussion, maybe the word forsake is an older word, in terms of young people might use that word, forsake. But they definitely know the word commit and they can understand what a lack of commitment is. And maybe jumping the gun a bit faster. Do you think not to remain? Do you think that they intend to forsake their spouse, whether by virtue of physically walking away or emotionally not being there? Or do you think that sometimes it may be a set of circumstances that the person may not even be particularly aware of that causes the other person to feel forsaken or as though the commitment has been broken?
Well, you know, I honestly believe that most people who get married with the intent that things will be happily ever after.
Right.
So the matter of not being committed to the relationship, I hardly think that that is foremost in people's minds.
I agree.
I think one of the challenges may be that a lot of people don't seem to understand that marriage is hard work. You know, you get married and things just work out. I like to use the analogy of a house. You build a house and you think, okay, I can throw my hands up, it's okay. And until you realize that maintenance is real big, you know. And so in the marriage, that is it too. Now, the concept behind commitment is that I have an attitude that I am in this thing for the long haul. The Bible says, until death do us part. Right. So people generally may not necessarily. These days I hear people talking about prenuptial agreements and so on. So we live in an interesting era. And some people are planning a back door in case something happens. But generally speaking, what I believe we want, most people want in a relationship is happiness, togetherness, just the whole concept of a good relationship.
Okay, I think we're getting the message that we're going to take a break for a moment, Doc, so we will be right back.
I am Pastor K. White, Personal Ministries Director of the South Leeward Conference. I should be joined by my secretary, Mrs. Greenaway, but she's not here. It's not like Cindy to be late. Oh, wait. She's sending me a voice note.
Pastor, sorry, I'll be there shortly. Hold on.
Pastor, friends, please forgive my tardiness, but it is almost time for the 2023 In Gathering campaign, and I just had to go out and do some rallying of our supporters before I come in to do the 2023 In Gathering launch with you. You know I get excited about In Gathering time.
Well, Cindy, I know you're always on top of things. Now that we're in place, we're here to launch the 2023 In Gathering campaign under the theme, Celebrating God's Provision and Impacting Our Communities. This year, the campaign will run from January 21st to March 4th, 2023.
That's right, Pastor. The Seventh-day Adventist Church places emphasis on community outreach and ministering to the felt needs
or whatever virtual space you wish.
This can serve as your initial contact, where contributors can be informed of the humanitarian mission of In Gathering and then pledge the amounts they would like to contribute.
At an assigned time during the campaign period, members can visit the contributors they have canvassed to collect the pledges.
We want to thank the many faithful individuals and businesses who have supported In Gathering over the years, and we look forward to your support this year.
It is with delight that we announce the official commencement of the 2023 In Gathering campaign.
Let us continue to participate in this noble ministry. Be blessed.
Welcome back. We apologize for the short break there. We continued this important discussion on commitment. And Dr. Brathwaite, during the break, I was thinking that if I have two tasks that I'm performing, one is I am writing my dissertation. I've done my studies for my doctoral program, and it's just to get the dissertation out of the way. The other one is I want to to send a WhatsApp message to an old friend just to say hi and hello. Now, if I am having challenges getting the phone on to send the WhatsApp message, because that is not a life and death situation, I could say, you know, I'm having challenges sending this message. I'll leave that until another time.
Right.
There's no big deal there. But my dissertation, I'm not going to say I'm leaving that for another time. I have toiled over that.
Right.
So it is important, and I'm going to give my energy, my everything to it. If the marriage relationship is meaningful to me, I'm going to stick to it even when things don't look so well, because I realize that this is something that I have invested so much in.
Yes,
You know,
yes.
it is not just a matter of, hey, I can't wash the car today, I could do it tomorrow.
Yeah, you know, because the marriage relationship is really a long-term relationship.
That's
I mean,
right.
you know, the vow says until death do us part. And why it is so critical, Doc, while you can put some other things aside, you can put that WhatsApp, you know, messaging that WhatsApp, you can put washing the car aside to tomorrow, to next week if you choose. But the dissertation, there are deadlines. If you don't meet them, you will have forgone. You'd have done a lot of work almost for nothing. And so it becomes more important. And it is the same with a relationship. You know, a relationship is important. And remaining committed, and you mentioned, through the difficulties. I think, you know, the question that I asked earlier, I think a lot of individuals, oftentimes, they are unable to cope with some of the challenges, and in their minds, you know, they would say, I didn't come here for this, you know what I mean? And so because of the possibility of sort of walking away from something, some people would say, you know, I am not here for this and I don't have to put up with this. But that happens in the face of a lack of commitment. When you are committed to staying the course, even though you have challenges, and you're committed even more so to working through the challenges. Obviously, as a person in a relationship, you will have challenges. You may have some financial challenges. You may have issues related to, you know, your personal style and habits. I don't like the way that my wife or the husband would say, the wife would say, I don't like the way my husband does certain things in the home, at home, and there may be things that bother you, but the point is that a reason to end the relationship? You know, so working through those issues because you are committed is really crucial and critical.
So it sounds to me as though we're saying commitment is not an option in a marriage relationship.
Yes, that's correct.
Because if the commitment is not there, then it's easy to say, why go through this?
Exactly.
You know, if there is a way out, why do that? And that is one of the reasons why we suggest to people, when you're getting married, you're not getting married if this works out, it's okay. If it doesn't, marriage is supposed to be a covenant that you're making for a lifetime. You're in this thing together for the rest of your life. You said forever,
yes,
right?
Yes.
You know, so you need to have that attitude that I'm not just going to stay in it, I'm going to make it work. You know, I want to, you know, if I go into a house and the house is not clean, I can choose to stay in the dirty house, but it would not be enjoyable. But I could do the work, clean up the house, and then relax.
Right.
And that's what sometimes some things happen to dirty the water in your relationship. But you can do the hard work and clean it up. And that's what commitment is all about. Because tomorrow is going to be better.
But, you know, it's interesting because when I think about it, some people are committed to things that are far less important than a relationship. You know, sometimes you would go down the road and you might buy something that is pretty expensive. You know, maybe for some people it's a car, or, you know, you build a house. And the house has some challenges, right? Or the car has some challenges in some situations. Or you might do something to the car that creates a problem. And I've heard people say, boy, I've spent so much money on this thing. I am not, you know what I mean? I am going to fight with this thing until it gives me the value that I've paid for it, kind of a thing, right? Because they committed to making this thing work. And, you know, as I said, some people give more value to other things than to a relationship. If you're in a relationship and there are issues, sometimes you might be the cause of the challenge. You know, there may be other external situations, factors. The other person may be the one who creates some of the challenges. But the mindset should be, you know what, I've made this commitment. I'm sticking with this thing. You know what I mean? I'm willing to work. And as we said, not just sticking with it, Doc, and remaining in pain and so on, but working through the issues so that you can come to an amicable situation that would be healthy and happy.
I think, Doc, as I think about it, the world we live in, the climate of today, challenges commitment to relationships in various ways. Because, we look at television, we look at the movie stars, the idols that people have around them, and we hear that they're getting divorced 3 and 5 times. It's not working out, so they change. So people are getting in and out of marriages, they change clothes. And what we want to suggest is that concept of options in your marriage, options to end the relationship, to try somebody else, that's not God's design for your relationship. And if you go into the marriage with that in mind, that hampers the whole attitude of commitment, because you're telling yourself, anytime I am not happy, I'm walking.
Right.
So we're saying the opposite is true. Now, the illustration you gave just now, Dr. Brathwaite, somebody buys a car and they clean it. They say, I have invested a lot. I must get my worth out of it.
Yes.
We're saying that a marriage is a lot more than that.
That's right.
And it is supposed to be that environment that guides the rest of your future. This is going to be a partner who you are with to help rear your children, to help forge a path for your future, establish identity, and a whole lot more for your relationship. If you have the attitude that if this doesn't work, I'm walking out, then that attitude in itself stifles commitment. Yeah. Because why stay in it? Why go through the pain when there is another option? So far as God is concerned, there is not another option.
Well, that's absolutely true. That is such a powerful point. The authors, Cloud and Townsend, have 2 beautiful things that I would like to share. One is they indicate that, a marathon runner does not see the finish line in the middle of the marathon, right? And it is the fact that there is a finish line that he obviously cannot see that keeps him committed to running, to keeping through with the race. If he drops out of the race, if he's a marathon runner, Doc, and he doesn't see the finish line, he drops out the race. If he's a real marathon runner, he'll have to race again, and it means he'll have to begin from the beginning again. All right. So I just wanted to make that point. The second point I want to make here is they state that in life, commitment provides the time, the structure, and the security needed for change to take place in the relationship. And I found that to be very important. In a relationship, as you consider being committed, this whole idea of the time that it takes to be committed, commitment and the value of commitment is not seen overnight. Structure, look, relationships need structure, You need structure to be able to resolve conflicts. You need structure to be able to manage your finances. Persons get married, and as you said, they think that it's just, happily ever after, and they think that comes about simply by dreaming about it, not realizing that those relationships that have done well have been relationships of structure, And finally, it says security. I mean, you always say it, if you're in a relationship and you don't know if this person is going to be there tomorrow, then you're not really, you can't remain committed. You don't feel secure in the relationship because you feel as though any time, at any moment, this thing can fall apart. And why would I invest so much into something that can fall apart tomorrow? So I think time, structure and security are 3 very important components.
And they all speak to the matter of not forsaking.
Yes.
Because if you have something that you value, you're going to take care of it. Absolutely. The time you're going to invest in it. Invest time. And the structure, it's about relationship. There's another statement that I want to draw, just to highlight what you have shared, because I think it is so very important. And it says that a problem in a relationship is usually a sign that both parties need to grow and change. And, listen to this now, without commitment, avoidance is often the easier way out. Yes. So, if there is no commitment, then I'm going to avoid the issue.
That's right.
And the whole matter of security, I like the security concept, because, motivation comes from security,
Yeah, it does.
right? When I know that my spouse is going to be there, that motivates me to keep going.
That's right.
If I am not sure, Doc, I really don't know if I'm going home to an empty house,
Right.
then, you know, who is going to invest in something they're not sure about? You're going to
Don't do that.
invest in the stock market and you don't know about the performance of this
Particular
stock.
stock, yeah.
Is it going to fall? Is it going to rise?
Right.
You're not sure. Uncertainty is not good for anything in life. So that, except for a surprise, maybe, you know. So you want to have that sense that my partner is going to be there with me. And if every time a challenge comes, somebody packs up and or threatens to leave, they may not leave physically, but they can leave emotionally. And when there is that emotional void and you know your partner is not there, the withdrawal, it does not lend towards investment in the relationship.
Correct.
And so when I know that you have this concept that you're going to work for the good of this relationship, that encourages me to press on.
It does, yeah, and it helps the relationship to grow, really, because, you know, previously, I believe maybe Brian Craig, in Searching for Intimacy, indicated, maybe him, I believe so, indicated that, you know, intimacy or relationships that go through struggles and have a solid system of addressing those struggles or addressing those conflicts, then those people actually grow in intimacy. The reality is that if you can be confident with your with your spouse that, listen, we can face conflicts head on, and we know that when we come out of the conflict, we're going to still love each other. That is, I mean, so, you know, consoling. It says to me that, you know, we can pass through just about any storm and we're going to come out feeling close. We're going to come out on the other end of it knowing that we've worked through this and we have actually grown closer together as a result.
Doc, you know, I know we lost some time this morning, but there are a couple of things we want to address now. I'm always concerned that individuals don't leave with the wrong impression. Now, earlier we said that marriage is designed to last a lifetime.
Yes,
and that is definitely so.
Yes.
You must go into the relationship with the understanding that there are no options for quitting. Now, somebody may be out there listening and thinking, you don't understand the abuse that I'm in.
through, right.
You know, you don't
Yes,
understand the
yes.
unfaithfulness of my spouse,
Yes,
etc.
yes.
Now, we call those special cases.
Yes.
Right? I mean, they may be very
Happy that you're
popular,
highlighting that,
but
yeah.
they're special cases. And we are not in any way suggesting that you ought to take abuse or you ought to sit back and allow your partner to be unfaithful.
abuse you. That's
no.
right. That's
The
right.
Bible itself speaks against those things,
Yes, yes,
right?
yes,
So the concept that we want to share is that you want a marriage void of those things. But you see, when everything starts somewhere, I want to think. And sometimes our attitude towards the relationship, we're not making excuses for abuse, certainly not,
definitely
or for unfaithfulness.
No, sir.
But sometimes, you know, when a marriage fails, it is not easy to say it's this person's fault or that person's fault. So one needs to be careful to invest meaningfully in the relationship.
I think, you know, we have made that sort of disclaimer before in terms of suggesting that, you know, as we speak with, we're really generally addressing, you know, what we would consider to be regular cases, cases that are, you know, persons may struggle with the normal challenges of a relationship. But as you mentioned, Doc, there are, you know, very significant cases of abuse and unfaithfulness that they have to be handled differently, and that's the reality. I mean, the option is always there for a person to forgive and to attempt to move forward if the changes are made. But if you're being abused, or there's a consistent pattern of unfaithfulness, definitely that needs to be addressed.
The other thing I want to highlight, going back to the comment you made earlier, I really want to magnify it, so to speak, because I think too often people don't understand the blessings of pain you know, the challenges that come in your relationship can be stepping stones for success and growth. When we look at life, we realize that some things that are very valuable in life come only because of pain. And think of the pearl. You know, they tell me the oyster, when sand gets in the shell, it creates tremendous discomfort for the oyster. And in an effort to fight that pain, the oyster secretes a certain substance, which over time solidifies and becomes a pearl. So the next time you look at a pearl, understand that that is as a result of great pain. And so the pain in your relationship, you can react by creating a pearl.
That's right.
You know,
That's right.
too many persons opt out, Doc.
Yes.
You know, and again, as I said earlier, because of the media and the publicity and the easiness with which people can get a divorce, they think this is our best option. And so they go that way. Rather than doing the hard work, investing. Remember, God says, until death do us part.
You know, for those couples who, you know, may have challenges, one of the assignments that I give to some of my younger couples is that they need to go and interview a couple that has, you know, maybe 30 plus years of marriage and have a conversation with them about what the experience has been like. And the purpose of that really is to help them to appreciate that, you know, relationships do come with challenges. And, you know, at the end of it, even though you may see a couple moving beautifully, there's a particular couple that I admire quite a bit. I see them, you know, every now and again exercising and so on together. And I see the beauty of what it has been over a number of years. But I'm also quite aware that, you know, that beauty didn't come overnight. It took time. They worked through several challenges in their relationships, and today there is something, you know, beautiful on that everyone can see, and so what we're saying is, you know, that commitment is what has allowed them today, after 30 plus years of marriage, to continue to be, you know, working together as a unit. As we're saying, that does not come overnight. And jumping out of the ship, the authors use an example. You know, it takes commitment. If you're doing a bypass surgery, and in the middle of the surgery you decide, look, I don't want to do this anymore, I'm just going to get up off the table and walk out, you probably wouldn't make it to the door. So commitment is important. Sticking it out, staying through the journey of your marriage under normal circumstances, the regular routine challenges, you can make it.
Well, friends, that's all the time we have for today. We are going to continue this important discussion next week. We encourage you to join us. And in the meantime, send us a note, marriageencounter@slcadventist.org, marriageencounter@slcadventist.org. Let us know how meaningful this program has been to you. It was a joy sharing with you today. We look forward to seeing you next week again, 10:30 a.m. Thursday morning, 6:30 p.m. Thursday evening, and 2 p.m. on Saturdays. God bless you. Until next week.